We've got that classic red-made BGM playing in the background. Studio mode. Okay, how are we gonna do this? Oh yay, my mouse has decided that it no longer wants to be visible. That's fun. Blitzgraymon, why the fuck does you being out and about mean that every single thing fails? Are you losing your Digivice privileges, Blitzgraymon? Because I can make that happen. One of these is my mouse. Which is why it's not super easy to identify which one of these is my mouse. Okay, there we go. Mouse is back. Oh nice, the first person here is the one whose name we can't say yet. Okay. Alright, so now that I have my mouse again, I need to apparently download the entire slideshow as image files and upload it as a slideshow. Yeah, that's on purpose, that they can't hear us. Can they hear the music? Okay. Nice. Oh god, I've got 17 images to download. This is gonna take some time, isn't it? I thought you said they can't hear you. I'm confused. Can chat hear us yet or no? I'm confused. Can chat hear us yet or no? Oh, okay. Hi everyone. My second monitor decided that it was going to cease to exist just before stream. Oh, neat. See, they think that you're a social experiment, but in reality, Xanadu is not a social experiment. He is actually just a Digimon that has taken the form of a human, which you would know is a thing that happens if you actually read the Cross Wars manga, which is fire. Oh yeah, that's true. Which reminds me, play Haggar's Memory and cry like the rest of us, you coward. Yeah. Yeah, I need to actually play SMT5 more. I, got it for Christmas and I barely started it. I am so hyped for that. Listen. Atlas is owned by Sega. Sega paid to have their store show up in Cyber Sleuth. They are one and the same. And the sooner that we have a proper SMT and Digimon crossover, the sooner the world is safe. By which I mean it is not at all safe, because we'll have demons and Digimon fighting each other. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry, this is taking way longer than I expected it to. No, this is definitely Blitzgraymon's fault, and I'm switching the system inside of the Digivice as soon as the stream ends. He's earned it. Alright, it should work now. I promise nothing. Hold on. Exit studio mode, and there we go. Hello, everyone! Is this working? Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, hey, it's working! Yay!
Hell yeah! Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Monspiracy, which is supposed to be a podcast of some kind about Digimon conspiracies. I am Azure C, and I am joined by Xanadu of the channel of the same name. Apparently the X is silent. I learned that today. I don't know about you guys.
Most people. I just think it's funny. Like, I don't know. I roll with it, you know. Xanax do, Xanadu.
Yeah. But yeah, so, this is going to be, a very scuffed attempt because, as I mentioned earlier, my second monitor, which we were using to display information, decided to, just cease to exist.
It just broke it.
It just decided that it was not going to do this today. I think this is very likely to be the fault of Blitzgraymon, who just got to be in a Digivice for the first time in a while, and is probably just mad at me for keeping him in storage for so long. I need more vital braces to keep my Digimon from screwing me over.
Yeah, and like, mind you, if anyone's wondering, we did practice this yesterday. It is working perfectly fine.
Worked perfectly fine. But for some reason today, it just decided, hey, I know that you're in the middle of showing this on this screen, so I'm going to disconnect this screen and not let you connect back to it.
Awful.
Yeah. So, just checking, is the music still working?
I can still hear it.
Okay, good. So I need to figure out how to make,
The other monitor plotted this out.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You'll play the other
Let's
monitor.
see. I need to figure out how to actually make the slideshow go. Because where is the option to set the hotkey? Do I need to I might need to reopen my Stream Deck. Hold on.
It's all part of the plan, everybody.
All part of the plan. All part of Blitzgraymon's plan to screw me over.
All according to Keikaku.
Translator's note, Keikaku means plan. Yay, okay. Oh wait, hold on. If I hit this button, what happens? nothing. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, well, hold on, let me pull up the slideshow that I had to rip this from so I can read. Or actually, no, I can do it this way? Just checking, can everyone read the actual stuff on screen? I want to make sure.
It's legible, I can see it.
Awesome. So, Monspiracy is a new series that I am definitely doing. Other people will join me. As for their consistency, that is up to them. And it is talking about general Digimon lore, plot holes, or unused, underused concepts from various media, and the theories we find or come up with. And if you have any suggestions, we would love to hear them. They're not necessary, as I just keep making scripts for this. I can't stop. Please send help.
I think you're on like 4, 5 now, right?
Yeah. There's a backlog. There is a backlog. So today's episode, as our introduction to the series itself, what is the Vital Brace exactly, and what is a DiM? Spoilers for Ghost Game episode 14. Not 13, the one you're thinking of, but episode 14, the one right after that everyone was like, why did nothing happen this episode? Because things did happen this episode, and they scared me!
There's a lot of crazy lore implications in those quote-unquote boring episodes.
Yeah. So, first off, we're going to talk about the Vital Brace system, and how it is a fair bit different than a number of the VPET stuff that came before it. If I can find the right tab again. There we go. The Vital Brace system is a unique kind of Digimon virtual pet, because it replaces many of the usual mechanics with a system based on heart rate and fitness, and incorporates a wide variety of new features such as DIMs and the VB Lab. This is also the reason, if you follow the online project, that basically nothing has happened with the Vital Brace, because unlike every other virtual pet so far, making stuff for this is technically a threat to its well-being. Because with other virtual pets, everything on there is fixed. If you make something that requires that virtual pet to use, then A, people need to buy the virtual pet to use it, and B, changing things about that virtual pet, or looking into how it works, does not harm the viability of the pet itself. The Vital Brace uses a system where it uploads Digimon every time you put a new DiM card in, so making new DiM cards with other Digimon on them is a threat to the DiM cards that are being sold, and thus the Vital Brace's survivability as a whole. And I really like this, so I will not let anyone kill it. Ever.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's
not
just a shame
because
because
Bandai is allowed to end the Vital Brace.
It's a shame because, people figured out how the Vital Brace worked really, really quickly.
Yeah, almost instantly.
Yeah, I feel like the moment it was in people's hands, they were like, "Oh, this is how it works. Here's how you can blow it open."
Digimon cracking goes. Yeah, that's how it always has been.
Yeah, especially now.
Ever since Blade decided to mess with it in the beginning, it has just always been a matter of, it's in the hands of the hackers. Week later, you remember the DMX. I was like, hey, we just got it. Not sure how long this is going to take. Might be a while. 1 week later, hey, we solved everything.
Hey, try this code out. It should unlock the special area for you since you only bought the red one. And I was like, oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think,
that brave little Tokomon going where no Tokomon had gone before.
Straight to Area SP.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cool thing about the entire Vital Brace system is the fact that, like you said, it loads, everything in from the DiM cards, which is, I don't know, such a relatively simple idea that I'm surprised they've never done before.
Well, yeah, it's very much a new concept for Digimon to be able to, despite the fact that, it makes perfect sense to be able to switch out the rosters. Switching out the rosters is a very new concept for Digimon.
Yeah, especially like on the fly, the way that the Vital Brace does it. Like I do
Yeah.
wish that like there was just a little bit more storage on the brace itself. But
Yeah.
just the fact that they're able to fit all that information into the DiM, it's just like so cool. And the
It's
fact that like
amazing. And
it's
plus, like,
seamless.
and like, and plus, like, the fact that, like, the way it works is you plug it in and it can store 2 entire DIMs worth of data is cool on its own. But the fact that it only clears that data after, like, certain events, meaning that you can transfer a Digimon back and forth as many times as you need to, so long as you're not causing one of those things to occur, is awesome in and of itself. Like you would have expected something clunky where it's like you needed it every time.
Yeah. And like the fact that Bandai really hasn't used it to its full capabilities yet, but the fact that you can technically write data to the DiM cards as well, pretty crazy to me. Like the fact that like the DiM card will know when you beat Area 15 the moment you log it back into the app and back into the race. Like it tells the DiM card, hey, by the way, Area 15 completed. You can now raise this Digimon. Like that's pretty nuts to me.
Yeah. Hold on, I found a bot.
Oh no.
I don't have mods yet, so this is my job.
Oops. Putting you in a timeout, buddy.
Yeah, there we go. So first thing about the Vital Brace system we're going to talk about is we're going to keep talking about the Vital Brace itself. Might have gotten a little bit ahead of ourselves there.
This is important, trust me.
Yeah. So first off, the basic the event mechanics of hunger, strength, that kind of, and like training mini games. Hunger is replaced with the Vital Point system, which uses your movement and heart rate to sustain your Digimon. Unless it's been put into sleep mode or a storage environment, which we'll get to a little bit later, it will die without being able to read and presumably at some level consume that data. Whereas training, which is usually done in the form of mini-games, is now replaced with missions, which can vary from fulfilling certain parameters, exercising, or the adventure system, which we will get to later. And I have been making this joke since we first found out that the Vital Brace read your health information and heart rate. Your Digimon is a parasite because it's feeding off your life. Except not really, because it's not actually damaging you in any way.
I remember when I was explaining to a friend like how the Vital Brace like works, like, oh, it's so cool, it's such a cool idea, like I can't wait until it comes out. Like you wear it and like if you're not wearing it, your like Digimon dies. And they're like, oh god, it's a parasite. And I was like, oh my god, it is. Like it totally is. Like it makes you wonder, like I wonder if at some point, because Ghost Game is already pretty dark, but I wonder like if they go any darker with this idea and the themes, I wonder if they're gonna touch on the fact that like there is a possibility that there is a symbiotic relationship or slightly parasitic relationship between the partners and their Digimon in Ghost Game.
I mean, look at every Digimon fan who actually plays with the V-Pets. There is definitely a parasitic relationship between Bandai and our wallets.
Yeah, but I mean, me and Bandai's parasitic relationship started way before like the Vital Pets.
Yeah. So, hold on. I wish there was an easier way to do this. If I do, hold on. I need to try doing that thing that you mentioned that one time where it's like half the screen and half the screen.
Oh yeah. It just makes it better.
Yeah, it just makes it better. Okay, there we go. And
yeah, but the parasitic nature is like a really it
oh yeah,
gives
I
it...
can't do that. That's awesome.
Oh no. But the parasitic nature does like give it this really cool like edge. I mean, Digimon's always been about the edge, and the Vital Brace being essentially this like parasitic best friend that
Yeah.
helps you work out.
It is the
It's
least
really cool
toxic
idea.
of toxic relationships.
Yeah, because at least you're getting a workout out of it.
You're
and,
getting
that
a
makes you
workout out
happy.
of it. You're getting a Digimon that you may or may not need to survive in the coming days. We'll get to that later. But yeah, it is pretty interesting. Continuing on, hold on, let me just make sure that I didn't skip a slide, because I might have skipped a slide. No, I did not skip a slide. Okay. So, the Vital Brace can also create a Digitama using DiM data. So, as far as we can tell, the Digitama creation process is not a part of the DiM itself, but rather a function of the bracelet. And creating any Digitama that's created is limited to the evolution data of the currently loaded DiM. A blank Digitama cannot be created, and a DiM is required, as opposed to something like the Tamagotchi Smart, I believe it's called. Whichever one that just released uses a very similar system. That one can create a base Tamagotchi.
Oh, can it?
Yeah, it doesn't need the card. It uses the cards for extra data and stuff.
Weird.
Yeah, it's an interesting difference.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Especially considering that, like, there's not much difference in terms of their bulk and thus likely processing power, which implies that there could have, like, if it had been just one DiM worth of storage, that we could have had Pulsemon on all the time. Which is interesting. Why would they do it that way? But that's not the only thing the Vital Brace can do with DiM data. It can use the DiM's data to replicate the Digitama's natural environment, which is most obviously shown in the unique background that each DiM loads. And something interesting about that is if you have the DiM's special background loaded, and you switch to another Digimon that you have in backup, it will keep the special background loaded, but it will switch to the special background for that Digimon. Which implies that the unique background, combined with the fact that the unique background will deactivate when a mon is transferred out of the VB, but not when a Versus DiM is in use, implies that it is specifically loading the appropriate habitat data for that Digimon. And it will automatically engage that habitat data when you activate Adventure Mode. Which is interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, you know, I actually never noticed that. You're right. It does always activate whenever you go into Adventure Mode.
Yeah. And to continue further, even. The Adventure Mode itself, and I noticed that the text has become smaller, so I'm going to read this one off.
Oh no.
When activating Adventure Mode, it activates the change of background. It spawns a copy of a possible evolution after a fixed number of steps. The steps and evolution that are used vary with each stage, ascending in difficulty. And two very interesting points. Ghost Game's AR Field equivalent. AR Field was what they called it in Atmon, but Ghost Game hasn't really named what it is. Okay. The button combination that they use in the episode where they first specifically mention the button combo goes directly to the mission menu, which implies that it is Adventure Mode that is being activated when they deploy those fields.
You know what's hilarious? The moment they first did it, I was like, this is a weird thing. Like, I don't know what they're doing. And then, like, when I realized that he was, like Hero was, like, fooling around with the Vital Brace, I was like, wait a second. That's Adventure Mode. Like, he went into Adventure Mode. Like, they
go into Adventure Mode. It creates a replicated environment of the digital world specific to the Digimon. And, oh, what do we see in Ghost Game? The fields deployed by Hiro, Ruli, and Kiyoshiro are different from each other.
Oh, are they? I haven't
Yeah.
noticed because I know
And then when
Heroes
they start
is
loading the different DIMs, they can load different environments too.
Ha. See, So I know Heroes is like kind of like that. Like it kind of looks like a. It makes everything very like naturalistic and like kind of like post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
What are Rulies in Heroes?
So
Or
I don't remember what Rulies is like a bit more Plains-like, if I remember correctly.
okay.
And the interesting part is Kyoshiro's it looks like it's simultaneously very naturalistic and post-apocalyptic like Heroes was, but at the same time it's also very techno. Like it has that kind of like Tron Sky kind of feel. Remember? If you remember the Jellymon's debut episode.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because the sky kind of looks like the Gridman.
Yeah.
The Gridman
exactly. Exactly. The computer.
I never noticed
Gridman.
they're a bit more subtle. The differences.
Yeah, they are, and like it's even subtle when you look at the actual backgrounds for those 3 Digimon.
Yeah, I actually haven't played with the Angoromon or Jellymon DiM yet. I never like actually opened them. Are there backgrounds in the actual Vital Brace toy different?
I don't remember. I can double check after this, but I do not have a Geistramon or Marine Angemon loaded right now, so I can't check easily.
Okay.
But speaking of Angoromon, whose name I apparently misspelled when I was transferring this into an actual slideshow, in Ghost Game, Angoromon calls Adventure Mode like the digital world. Not the digital world. He explicitly says that the Adventure Mode that they create is like the digital world. This implies that the VB is not what I call a terminal VPET, which is what the most common type of VPET is, where the device serves not as a storage for the Digimon or its home, but rather a window or interface to connect to the digital world and that specific Digimon.
Yeah, I forgot what they called it. I think there's like a name for it. It's like I think called like the. I think it's called like the something box, like the fight box or the training box.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I can't remember the name either. So I just call them terminals because it's a terminal. It's connecting you. Rather, the Vital Brace seems to function a lot more like the version Wonderswan. The version Wonderswan. As far as I can tell, because I can't read Japanese, so I don't know what it actually says. But in the version Wonderswan, it has a lab area for raising, and within that lab area for raising, you can skip time in order to evolve from Baby 1 all the way up to Perfect level without any actual time passing. It takes like 5 minutes real time, which is way faster than an actual digital monster.
Yeah.
And the lab's background is basically just an empty grid. It doesn't have color, so it doesn't look as synthwave as it should, but it's still an empty synthwave grid. So as such, the Digimon is quite literally inside some kind of the machine in question, which is also very similar to some of the classical depictions of the pre-digital monster means of raising Digimon, and the version S's gameplay, in which the Digimon's little care box is just a window like the ones we are in right now.
Oh yeah.
That was intentional. Pay no attention to the Kuromon in the bottom of the screen.
There.
Yeah, they're down there. He's pointing. Don't pay attention to them. They are kept off of the grid. I am responsible. I will not let them onto the internet until after Bandai threatens to shut down the VB.
And that is why the stream was messing up earlier.
Oh my god, that's why the stream was messing up before.
Giving them pre-rain.
Yeah. Alright, but yeah, so I guess we'll refer to this as lab types going forward, as both in the version WonderSwan, it called the racing area the lab, and we use the VB Lab app to store our Digimon. Also, I'm just switching from backup and having Kazuchimon switch with Shibamon because I didn't realize I had switched them back.
And that makes you really wonder, maybe they chose the word lab intentionally?
Yeah. I mean,
like,
the Vital Brace and Ghost Game do love to call back to the classic era.
True. And I think during the anime discussion they did mention that they have they wanted to kind of give it that more classic feel that the original had.
Yeah. Like, I mean, compared to everything we've gotten, even the Digital Monster X, the Vital Brace definitely feel like, having played the original Digital Monster exactly like one time successfully, it definitely feels a lot more like it in the way of like its, I guess, consistency, kinda? Like, it feels more like the classic pets than it does the modern ones.
Yeah, which is kind of weird, especially considering that it does kind of...
It is the most modern pet, and yet it feels the most like the classic ones.
Yeah, especially given the fact that it changes so much.
Yeah.
But it does have that, that kind of feel.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's the first pet to, go back to the drawing board, essentially.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it has that kind of feeling.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Like, it has that kind of... Oh my god. The reason it has that feel is because the era of the classic pets is the era of Bandai was just like, yeah, instead of throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks, we're just gonna keep throwing things at the wall.
True. Also, Digitama Queen is in the chat. What's up?
Hi! Hello. Shoot, I lost my tab. Hold on.
Oh.
Okay, there we go. Next slide. We have a lot of... The Vital Brace has the most slides out of everything. It will not take nearly as long to get through the other points. So,
okay, we've been talking about this a lot. There's been many of Discord calls about this.
Yeah. So, fun thing about the Vital Brace is it can apply the DiM data to external stimuli in the form of NFC communication, or near-field communication. NFC battles occur when a VB is within range of an NFC reader. And what I mean by that is the Vital Brace has an NFC tag built in, not an NFC reader. A reader is something like a chip reader, something like if you have like a lock that uses NFC, it works that way. Using tap payment methods where you hold your phone up to something, it works like that. And the classic and the actual Vital Brace trailers, it shows it on vending machines and on train passes. Train pass readers.
Which does work. I've tried it in real life. That you can do it if you can find one.
Yeah. I was talking about earlier before we started streaming how I would go around my apartment complex and just fight people's doors.
I have a tap to pay reader in my job, and I just will go up to it and they're like, "What the hell are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm fighting Digimon." And I've also I've been out and I found one of those Coke machines that have the same kind of reader, and it works on those too.
Yeah.
And I've also done it before tapping to pay, which is hilarious.
Let me check something real quick. Okay, so it is safe to say it. Hello, wait, hold on. Dang it, I closed the window? What the heck?
Uh-oh. Yes, thanks, Digitama Queen. I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so Gate Bussimon, an interesting thing about that, it won't react to just any NFC, it will react to any NFC reader. So for example, you can't fight an amiibo, unfortunately, but you can fight your Switch's amiibo reader.
Yes. Which in turn could also mean, I haven't tried this yet, but you could probably also fight a new Nintendo 3DS.
You could probably. And also, you cannot fight a Skylander, but you can fight the Portal of Power.
I gotta plug my Portal of Power in and see if that shit works. That'd be so dope. I'm gonna have.
Would be so dope.
That would look so dope because it's like fucking glows. So like it feels like you're fighting like this digital gate.
And those things technically have like a plug that you can plug in to just have it like on USB. So you can plug it into an actual adapter, have the wire going up into it, and just like tape it onto the wall, and just have a glowing portal on your wall. And the people are like, what's that for? And it's like, oh, Digimon portal.
It's a portal. What's that? A smoothie.
But here's the fun part. Oh, dang it. That's a good point. It might need to actually be actively scanning, as Digitama Queen has tried it. Yeah.
Damn.
It might need to have the scanner active.
Well,
it only occurred to me because Skylanders was always scanning while it was in the game. So I thought it would be able to do it. Oh well.
I'll just have a copy of Skylanders constantly running on my PS3 in the background.
I mean, it's a PS3. What else is it gonna do at this point?
Yeah, nothing. Play my PS1 games whenever I'm feeling like playing Mega Man 8 or Legends. Or Spider-Man PS1.
Yeah. But fun thing about NFC battles. Oh yeah, you're right, that one was battery operated. So here's the fun thing about the NFC battles. Battles will be with a possible evolution from the active DiM. So if I fight... Okay, thank you, that sounds awesome. I want to know more, because I have the 3DS one too. So... Since the encountered Digimon depends on the active DiM, and by which I mean, like, if I fight my Switch with my Shivamon, and it spawns a, what's it called? A Runnermon, and then I switch over to my Agumon DiM and have Blitzgraymon fight it, it would spawn an Ogremon instead. That means that either A, any NFC communication point has all possible Digimon present and the VB targets an appropriate one, or B, the appropriate evolution data for that power level and specific attribute data is being overlaid onto something else. Which is terrifying when you consider that the Vital Brace is the first time in a very long time that Bandai was willing to have actual VPET level Digimon interact with the internet.
Just out there in the open.
Actually, I'm pretty sure since literally it has been since back then. Hold on.
In the row.
Sorry, I just needed to actually respond to a text real quick. Red texted me about something, and I was like, yes.
Now!
Yes, and I was like, also, Red Ranger, his username is literally Red Ranger, is the one responsible for the awesome background music you heard both at the start of the stream and right now. And you should listen to his work because it's amazing. He's also the one who does the music for World. And buy his music. Buy it.
And check out
Commission
Codewalkers.
him for music.
And check out Codewalkers for...
Oh yeah, his game, Codewalkers.
Yeah, that game's super fun.
It is super fun. But yeah, so... Bandai, what are we fighting? What is hiding inside of my door lock? I would really like to know.
What horrors of NFC have we yet to figure out? Like, what have we been just living amongst ourselves with this whole time?
Are there spirals inside of our
Oh my god! You make a good point because, like, in the trailer, they're always fighting like Betamon, who like doesn't exist yet on the Battle Brace. Betamon's always like, they usually make him really like transparent, like wireframey. What if it's not Betamon? What if it's like a spiral? Like that's
Yo. Like, I was just referring to spirals and eaters because they're, like, not Digimon that fight Digimon at Digimon level.
Yeah, but then also, like, some of them take the form of Digimon, too.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe that Betamon's a spiral. That's why he doesn't exist yet, because they defeated him. He doesn't exist yet.
And, like, with the reveals from Re-Arise, spoilers for Re-Arise, not that it matters since you won't be able to play it soon, but, with the reveal that spirals are discarded evolution data, and the VB is literally using evolution data to overlay onto whatever it's getting from the NFC?
I didn't know that part at all.
Which, now what I'm thinking is, rather than fighting something else in the Digimon's evolution data is just how it's being interpreted by the VB, what if the VB is just completing the evolution data as best it can?
We're trying to, like, purify spirals.
And that's the reason Re-Arise is ending, because the spiral problem is solved. We're just making them Digimon by fighting them now.
Oh my god. Does that mean we're finally gonna get an Arismon DiM?
Hopefully. I mean, I have literally been thinking ever since Re-Arise shut down, I'm like, oh sweet, we're finally getting the Arismon DiM then.
That's what I'm hoping for too.
Like,
because like,
I imagine the only reason Arismon wasn't on the VB was because he was mascotting Re-Arise, and so they didn't want to take him away from that. Because like
possible.
then you'd have, like why would you play Re-Arise if you could get Arismon on the obviously superior system?
Yeah, no, you're true. That when you make that, now that you mention it, it makes me think. Did the Chinese mobile game shut down before they added Hexblaumon to the X3?
I don't know. But see, it's different there because you can't use Hexablaumon or Arismon on the X's in a way that actually replaces the mobile game. Whereas the Vital Brace does replace the mobile game aspect, like you can use it to fight other people and to fight things on your phone.
Yeah.
And with Hexablaumon, I don't know if it joined the Vital Brace before its game shut down, but since that game is exclusive to the Chinese market, putting it on other stuff doesn't necessarily invalidate that.
Yeah. Makes you wonder. Makes you think. That's what they do. They introduce a new Digimon in a mobile game, kill it, and then put it on a V-Pet.
Yeah. The Vital Brace, the advancements in the Vital Brace technology is just going to be, hey, we made a game about this problem we're currently having in Digimon research. Oh, we figured out how to make the Vital Brace solve that problem. We're canceling this mobile game and we're putting its mascot on the Vital Brace now.
So it makes you think, like, what's... I know some people have been able to get their hands on New Century, but it does make me think, like, what's the problem in New Century that we now have to fix?
Yeah. Let's see. So, next up. Pour one out for Arismon.
Yeah.
Hopefully it will join the roster of the Vital Brace soon. Because legit,
hopefully. The
only reason I love Arismon's line and the only reason I never had it was because I could not be bothered to actually grind through Re-Arise.
Makes you think, I just realized that. The first DiM card pack was a double mascot pack.
It was. I'm surprised we never got the metal bird.
Yeah, that poor bastard just does not get any spotlight. I guess because he's so similar to Lava Garadimon.
Yeah, but it's very similar both in like, not only in the fact that like they have similar body types kind of at multiple stages, but also because they both are very linear as opposed to other Digimon lines which feel more, at least slightly more varied.
Yeah, I mean, I'd argue that Jazzermon is just like like either a metal clone of Lavagaratimon or Lavamon, whatever, Robomon,
Yeah,
whatever he is,
Robomon
he's either he's either a clone, like a metal like reproduction clone of it, or like a dead one that got like rebuilt as a robot. Like it's got to be one or the other. They're so similar.
Red is here. Everyone thank Red.
Woo!
Let's see. Whose functions are polar opposites? I forget what we were talking about when you sent that because of chat delay.
Yeah, there's a little slightly bit delay. But yeah, DiM Set 1 was a dual mascot pack, because it was Link's mascot and then the Chinese mobile games mascot at the same time. So it makes me wonder, maybe we'll get another 2-pack, so it'll be Erismon and then like, I don't know.
Erismon and Metal Birdmon.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. Oh, Dragon Bird and Metal Bird. I never got that far in Link's. I paid attention, but I never got that far to like get introduced to them, because like I got into the game like when it came out in English, and I think it only lasted like a year and a half in English, so I wasn't able to get that far.
I got the game around when a little bit after it came out in English, like, and I literally kept it on my phone for the sole purpose of having constant access to 3D models of Digimon.
Yeah, it was a shame, because I remember pulling literally like right before they closed the game. I pulled a Loosemon, not Satan mode, fall down mode. I pulled Loosemon fall down mode.
Nice.
And then the game was, they announced the game was shutting down, I think like a couple weeks later, so I didn't even get to use them. Yeah. So I don't know if that pool was just the sign of the end times or what. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, Loosemon was always all about ending the digital world.
Yeah.
So
and I'm
next
not,
up, the VB Lab, the superior mobile game that we all keep buying into because it doesn't use gacha. Except that one time they tried, and we all got mad.
We all got mad enough for Brandon to go, okay. Alright.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I'm out of order on the slideshow. Awesome.
The only mobile game right now, at this point.
Yep.
The DiM.
Yeah, hold on. I apparently missed I knew I was going to miss at least one image, so I need to load that into OBS real quick. Apologies for the scuff, but I mean, I'm the one streaming, so that's to be expected.
I mean, I think me being here is also adding some unlucky aspects to the scuffiness. Oh no! Damn it! The lights!
What happened? I'm not looking at the screen.
I sneezed.
Yeah.
Like, one thing I'm noticing is, like, whenever I'm, like, recording and talking a lot, like, I like, do this a lot in my videos, and it's, like, super annoying. But it's, like, my allergies have been acting up lately, and it's just gonna get worse, because spring is coming.
Okay, let me get through this real quick.
Alright. No, it's cool. We got this. So how's everyone's day going?
Okay, Metal Brace, BB Lab. Nope, was not in the right point. What the heck? Hold on. that's why. Re-add it. Move this to here. Okay. Let's try that one more time. There we go. So, the VB Lab can store Digimon and their growth information, records evolutions and reference book entries, serves as a terminal for indirectly battling other tamers, and cooperating in fighting raid bosses directly with other tamers. The directly and indirectly was important before, but now that Bandai is actually at giving us a way of real-time battling other tamers, it is very likely that whatever was keeping Bandai from actually wanting to make it possible for two Digimon to exist on the internet at the same time, diametrically opposed between each other with two tamers on opposite ends, is no longer in effect. Yay! It also serves as a means of receiving missions, which are used to advance tamer level and affect evolution. Which is literally all we have on the VP Lab. That is the only slide. I told you, we do not have nearly as much on anything other than the Vital Brace system.
Sure. I mean, the system's like where most of the juicy, weird lore implications come from.
Yeah.
I really think about it. Because I mean, like, okay, barring Adventure and the current take in Survive, Digimon are like their data. They're like from another world beyond ours that is compiled and like explicitly of just like nothing but data. So the idea that
it's
like,
weird because like in some canons they come from a parallel world or something, in which the laws of physics are binary and as such our computers can interface with it. And in other cases, they're a computer virus that gained sentience, and as they existed in the network, it eventually created an environment where they lived in.
And then there's they are from an alternate world and are actual monsters, but we can somehow only directly see them / interact with them through technology.
And I will eventually cover this. This needs its own episode to explain, but if you really think about it, all of the interdimensional travel in various Digimon media, and the fact that the Adventure canon exists as a fictional franchise in the Tamers canon, despite those two being able to cross over at some points, and the existence of Rio, implies that the entirety of the Digimon fictional canon is actually just a separate series of simulations interacting with each other. Why could Frontier have humans become Digimon? Simple, because we never saw any humans in Digimon.
Oh god. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I never noticed that. Yeah, you're right. Especially the fact that, like, Rio was able to, like, cross over, and we never really, like... There's, like, a write-up on the wiki that apparently after beating the Millenniumon, the final version, like, I think it was Yggdrasil gave him the offer to go back home, but said that he couldn't bring him back to his own home. So that's how he ended up in the Tamers universe, apparently.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because there's not really any footage of that game out there, so, like, that could just be someone's, like, not headcanon or anything, but we don't know the actual, like, what actually happened in the game to say, like, yes, that's what happened.
Yeah.
So, we just know he was able to cross over at some point. And I think the point is, like, I think Zed Millenniumon has the ability to, like, destroy entire universes, so I think that's probably why he was able to cross over, because, like, they, like, dimension hopped at some point in their fight. Yeah. But either way, it is weird that there's, like, easily, like, I don't know. It could be argued that other than like all the adventure like stuff, Adventure 2, and like Kazuna, every other incarnation of Digimon has been its own digital world, so like its own universe. So like there's like this Digimon omniverse of like a bunch of different interpretations of the digital world, and etc. And I don't know, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is absolutely insane. And I really like the idea of it just being like multiple simulations. Oh wait, we have Red, who knows Japanese and can play those games, who can tell us the answer.
Always jealous of the fans that can actually speak Japanese, like
yes.
May.
Yeah. We don't talk about the Mirai issue and how she connects the two separate story universes.
Oh yeah.
Oh no! See, that's the best part. It's not just that Mirai connects from a Digimon World game to a Digimon story game. She connects a Digimon World game to a Digimon story game, and then has that Digimon story game connect back to the previous iteration of Digimon story games by kidnapping a character from midway through the timeline of those games and having you help them because their things split around.
Well, there's also the I was gonna say post credit. There's also the DLC where you end up with the grown up version of the girl from like Dawn at Dusk.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I said that she kidnapped someone from another universe to deal with.
I thought you were talking about the whole thing with Rika.
Oh no,
Arena.
No. That's from her own home universe. She's from her own home universe.
That's weird. And yeah, that is a huge issue, because I would not be surprised if Mirai made another appearance.
Oh, she absolutely is.
Probably not in Survive, but definitely in the next story game for sure.
Yeah. Although, I would find it hilarious if she did show up in Survive and just played the same role as that, like, butler thing from the Devil Survivor games.
Oh my god. I would be beyond happy if she showed up in Survive. Like, I cannot explain the screech that will come out of my mouth if she shows up at some point.
Listen, Mirai shows up just wherever she wants.
Whenever she wants. And now we don't even know what kind of, like, what is she an agent of? Like, does she work directly with, like, Colonel or Yugito still, or is she just, like, some all-powerful being?
I have not played enough of the translated version of Redigitized to answer that question. However, by the fact that her canonical partner is Mastamon, I can assume that she bows to no one.
Just this beautiful, dangerous woman.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about Miriam, but we never talk about how...
Red, you're mentioning things that were not deep enough and down the Digiport to understand.
Yeah, no, that's like beyond me. I don't even... Is that from older story game, or...?
I think that's from the game that Mirai was originally in, that gave her backstory. Because the initial game that Mirai showed up in, she had an actual, like, connection to the plot, unlike everything else.
Oh.
In which she just decides what the plot is.
Oh, it's from Redigitized. I never beat this game. It's too much.
Yeah.
I suck at this game.
Yeah. But yeah, the VB Lab, the storage of Digimon is a neat feature, but the fact that the Vital Brace, and by extension the lab, actually record what Digimon you evolved from is interesting. Because, like, the last time we had that, or anything close to it, if I can remember correctly, is literally the freaking pendulum cycle. And the only reason I say that is because it reverts you back to a rookie at the end of the day, so I can only imagine that it remembers the rookie you started as.
Oh, yeah, you're right, because I think the cycles do have, about at least 2 rookies.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that's interesting. It serving as a battle terminal is interesting when you think about the fact that the pet isn't a terminal, so it needs a separate one for interfacing. And like,
also,
even to the degree where like use it instead of having a way to directly connect to vital braces, it has to basically use a versus DiM as an actual like arc to transfer between the two systems.
True. And also, you need NFC to be able to transfer the Digimon in the first place.
Yeah.
So there is like, in Vital Brace lore, at least, if you will, NFC is like, it's kind of like in 2020. You know how like in 2020, it's like, oh, you know, the network has now allowed us to interact with Digimon. Like in the VB lore, it's like it's not just the network; it's NFC has allowed us to interact now with Digimon directly.
And the NFC communication has basically made it safe for Bandai to expose the larger internet to Digimon in the hands of tamers and shit in controlled environments. Where previously all we got were things like games that had online multiplayer.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, like, when we had online multiplayer in Pokemon on the DS games, Bandai was still being like, nope, nuh-uh, you get a code for your team, and then you give that to someone else.
It makes you wonder.
It really does make you wonder how absolutely fucking hesitant Bandai is to have any kind of Digimon connected to the internet for a remotely long period of time.
Yeah, it really makes you think, doesn't it? And also the fact that to do real-time battles, Bandai has had to put this on a completely separate app. It's not going to be possible, because they mentioned that...
I'm wondering, like, if it's a separate app, I'm wondering, because they're probably going to make it possible for you to connect your Bandai ID to it. Are you going to be able to pull a Digimon out of storage in order to fight, or are you going to have to upload directly from the bracelet?
Oh my god, you know what? Maybe that's how it's gonna work. Maybe it's
like,
gonna be...
What if in order to fight someone else, you have to directly upload from the bracelet, which
Blue.
implies that the reason that they're making it a separate app is because they do not want to risk a Digimon being able to break out of its containment unit and start fighting things.
Not only that, but you're forgetting something else. And you like, literally, I think you cracked the code on how it's gonna work. Think about it like this. They're going to do essentially what you guys were planning on doing anyway with World.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I think it's how it's going to work. I think it's going to be a separate app, and then you tap your brace to the app, and it will send your Digimon into the app, and the app will essentially act like a versus DiM.
No, see, that's the interesting part. The versus DiM works in the same way that everything in the online project, the comm units, and World works. In that it creates a copy of it basically, in a very simple, based on the fact that it can restore your Digimon if you leave it out for too long, it basically makes a copy of your Digimon. And that data is then used by the other Vital Bracelet to reconstruct your Digimon. In a very similar way to how when you fight someone else using a code that they extracted, your device replicates their Digimon using the comms data, or how World literally rebuilds your Digimon based on its combat data, or scan data. What Bandai is talking about doing is essentially turning the raid system, which literally has your Digimon loaded in with X amount of other people's Digimon to fight the boss, and just making it two people diametrically facing each other. An actual real-time battle system means two actual Digimon will actually be facing off, which is apparently terrifying based on how long it's taken for us to get it.
Bandai knows that their creation cannot be unleashed, and they're gonna have to do it because we want it.
Oh no, see, that's the best part. They're not doing it because they're ready now, or because we want it so bad. There is reason for why we've been taking this long to get to it, and that is what I'm getting to next. Missions. Why are things called missions? Why are we receiving incentive in order to complete specific tasks on the unique system which has a semi-parasitic relationship with our Digimon partners?
Why?
And so, I'll leave that question in the air as we move to the next segment. The DiM. The Digimon Identified Memory.
Oh boy, here we go.
Here we go. God damn it, I did not close that. Why did you close the projector? Blitzgreymon, why are you doing this? I bought you a Digivice so you can exist at the same time as the other two, and this is how you repay me? So, as I mentioned before, DiM stands for Digimon Identified Memory. Again, memory implies that rather than a terminal like other VPETs, the Vital Brace is, in and of itself, holding the Digimon. The Digimon is living in the bracelet. Also, to a degree, because I forgot to mention this earlier, the fact that the bracelet is taking your vital data and using that to sustain the Digimon implies that the terminal pets were able to generate things like meat and pills and that kind of stuff because they were interfacing with the digital world. And so they could do things like spawn Digitama, spawn meat, spawn things infinitely because they were connected to the digital world, whereas this one is using you because it doesn't have that processing power.
Where's the meat? My god!
We wondered for so long how the meat farm worked, but now we are the meat farm.
This is literally the plot to the Matrix. Become the meat farm.
So it records data on the specific environment and the Digimon who live there, and this data connects to a single rookie level and its possible evolutions and devolutions. And it contains the data on the environment within the digital world the rookie in question lives in. And so, that's what we were talking about earlier with adventure mode. The DiM contains data on the environment of the area the Digimon lives in. It contains information that can be used by the Vital Bracelet to create the Digitama, which again is connecting to a singular in-training 1 to rookie path. And then, after the rookie, is when the evolutions start branching. Which is interesting because this is the only pet where we only get one rookie.
Sure.
So, what do these features mean when you look at the larger VPET lore? Because this is where things get convoluted. So, VPET lore. The VPETs have lore. A shocker, I know.
Yeah, because it's barely publicized at all.
Yeah, it's barely publicized. Some of it is contradictory, some of it is retroactive, comes from various sources, but currently the most consistent means of VPET lore is the reference book, which contains profiles on most Digimon. I will not say every or anywhere near that, because we have too goddamn many.
Literally, I think we've hit... I believe we're over 1,000.
When Pokemon is celebrating having 1,000 Pokemon, we will be at 3,000 Digimon.
Easily. I feel like
The only reason we're not is because the Vital Brace took the approach of we were gonna make new Digimon, but then we realized we had over 1,000 and we never use any of them.
Yeah. And I think, even if you took away, more... Even if you took away, the recolored, rookie or the recolored Digimon, we still have, something ridiculous, I think 1,000.
I think we still have over 1,000 without recolors.
Yeah, no, even without the recolors.
Even without, technical recolors, like Gigadramon and shit, we'd still probably have over 1,000 at this point.
Yeah, I think I checked, and it was something like... It was something like over 1,000, and with the recolors, it's 1,200 roughly, something ridiculous like that.
Yeah. And in addition to that is the Digimon Profile website, which is a more general system and just talks about lore itself rather than the Digimon specific to it, which is a big change because the lore used to be entirely dependent on Digimon's dex entries in order to actually have any actual background lore. Like, we've all seen different Digimon reference book entries, or where like it mentions like Chrome Digizoid, or Gold Digizoid armor, Blue Digizoid armor, Black Digizoid armor.
Red Digizoid.
All of that is directly referencing Chrome Digizoid, which is only defined in Metal Seadramon's reference book profile. Half of Metal Seadramon's reference book profile is dedicated to describing what Chrome Digizoid is, and basically every single Chrome Digizoid mention going forward refers back to assumes that you've read Metal Seadramon's profile and understand what that means.
Wow, I had no idea that's the only one that explains Chrome Digizoid.
It's the only one that explains Chrome Digizoid.
As ubiquitous as Digizoid is.
Yeah.
The only way it's explained is in Metal Seadramon.
No, see, literally the only other thing that even like comes close to explaining what Chrome Digizoid actually is the references in Huanglongmon and the green Quadramon lines, which refer to the minerals that become Chrome Digizoid. And they just casually mention that offhand. Other than that, everything we have about Chrome Digizoid is either one of the profiles saying what the specific color does, or refers back to, or would on a Wikipedia page like Wikimon, links back to Metal Seadramon. Why?
Digimon!
Thank God someone had the audacity to go back, make Digimon Profile, and actually go through and explain things so we have an actual website to refer to as what the hell Chrome Digizoid is.
Yeah.
Alongside many other things, it updates every month we get 2 articles on the I think the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays of the month. So check that out. I will probably stream every time it uploads again going forward because I like talking about them.
They're
and if
really
I'm
cool.
not streaming, I'll bother Xana to do it instead.
Yeah, they're like the stuff they mention has been like really interesting. Like they'll talk about things that like seem somewhat innocuous, and then there's like more to it than meets the eye. Is the best way I can put it.
Yeah. Like the people who are going back to it, they're not just going back and like bringing up like, hey, this is a random thing you might come across because we haven't touched on this in years, and so this is what it means. No, they're like, hey, this is what this means, and I have the authority to actually write Digimon lore now, so here's my headcanon, and this is how it works now. Congrats. You have an explanation.
Yeah, especially like, I'm still not over them finally explaining the differences between all the types.
Oh yeah, 100%. We know what they mean now!
Yeah, like, a lot of the typing makes a lot more sense now after the installation they gave to it. Even if it is retroactive, it makes...
Yeah, it retroactively makes a hell of a lot of sense.
It makes so much more sense now.
Like, things like, why is Spinomon a virus type? Oh, because he looks like a baddie. Now, Spinomon is a virus type because in its natural environment, it's a disruptive force that shapes how the it's a disruptive force that marches into an area and starts reworking how the area works. Whereas a vaccine type is a territorial entity that is protective of the area it lives in and its status quo. And a data type is adaptive and will change depending on the environment.
Which explains a lot. Like, making virus types an invasive species explains why a lot of virus types tend to be like very bad looking.
Yeah.
But it also explains the non-evil looking virus types. Because there's a lot of virus types where it's like, why is that a virus type? But now it makes sense. Like, okay, well, this is like an invasive species that changes its environment.
It's an invasive species, or it's like a roaming predator where basically its presence changes the environment.
Yeah. And I love that. But I'm still not over the fact that type null and type free are now 2 different types, which is fucking weird.
That's been a thing forever.
I didn't believe it. I just thought it was translation errors my whole life. I didn't know it was just two completely different things.
Oh, wait till we tell you about type variable.
Oh yeah, that too. Okay, we're to get back to the DIMs and how they work real quick, because we had theories about how DIM worked, and me and Azu have had Discord calls where we talked about how DIMs work and how we thought DIMs work, and then that one Ghost Game episode came out and completely just demystified it and just flat out explained to us how DIMs work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's the coolest thing about the way that Ghost Game is handling their lore, is that Ghost Game is essentially acting like V-Tamer acted like for the original
Yeah,
V-Packs,
absolutely.
where they're using existing mechanics of the actual toy to help flesh out the lore of the actual show and story.
Vice versa, the fleshing out of the show's lore has implications on the toy itself.
Yes. So we know now.
Like, literally, this came about because them taking how DIMs work. Oh, it's memory and it contains environment data? Okay, so it's a recording of the environment. And here we are, talking about how the recording of the environment scared me so bad I wrote a script for a podcast. And then 6 more.
And here we are. And so we now know for a fact that they are indeed a recording of different environments. So the DIM cards that activated everyone's Digivice, which are the Angoromon, Jellymon, and Gammamon DIM, all also carry that data whenever they use that adventure mode. But now all 3 of them have new DIM cards, and we've only seen, I don't think we've seen all of them yet. I know there's one that's a beach, and there's one that's like snowy.
It's not a beach, it's a desert, and we have seen the desert and the snow once.
Yeah, so we haven't seen the last one yet, but it does bear the question. We know, at least now, that the partner Digimon they can partner with another. I mean, they're not called Digidestined, but for the sake of brevity, they can partner with a different tamer, and we saw that. So it makes you wonder: are these DIM cards just simply environmental data, or can they also spawn a Digitama?
That's a good point. What's interesting about that to me is the way the joking theory that I came up with after that episode was that Hiro, Ruli, and Kia are all using Hiro's dad's Bandai Namco account. Because if you think about it, if they're all stored, so first off, you can load a given DIM onto 3 Digivice Vs.
Yes.
As such, that means in order for Jellymon to sync to Ruli's VB, that would require be able to utilize the Jellymon DIM, but also in order to transfer to it, it would have to go through the VB Lab app from one Vital Bracelet to the other, which means that all 3 have to be linked to the same account, and since Hiro's dad made the bracelet, it would be his account.
Wait, I think how many Vital Bracelets are you allowed to have
on an account? Unlimited.
Yeah. Okay, I thought it was 3. I was saying, like, can you imagine if, like, that's just another thing they added in?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can
They're all using the same account, and, like, Hiro's dad can probably use the Gammamon DIM, but the problem is that no one else can use the Tailmon, the black, like, he can't use the Gammamon, like, he can't use, like, one of the DIMs anymore because the other 3 already synced to it. And so him and Black Tailmon are just like, oh, we can't trade partners with them.
So...
But yeah, so I've touched on this already when we were talking about terminal pets, but a big factor, especially for the Digimon X series and the Pendulum Z series, is that there are two digital worlds. The old digital world, which contained the DMOG and/or PenOG, all the way through the Pen Progress 1 and 2, as well as the DMX, and the new digital world, which is partially connected to the Pen Prog 3, but also the Pen X going forward to the Pen 20 and Pen Z. The details of why there are two and how they're connected is the focus of the X Antibody storyline, and that's not important to this specific one. So if you think it would be fun to rant about the X Antibody storyline for people, I'm totally up for that. But I'm not going to force you to, because that is a story unto itself.
That
Literally,
they
told it twice. They made like two. They made a manga. They made a separate manhwa because the Digivice was shaped differently in China, and then they made a movie.
Oh, yeah.
And then after the movie, we got like nothing except like it got like a video game adaptation, if I remember Digimon World 4 correctly.
Yes.
It got let's see, what else did it get? It got adapted into multiple later versions of video games as like side stories and shit. And then it got its own VPET again. Because they were like, hey, it's been a while since we touched this one.
And a whole mini manga, so yeah.
And a whole mini manga, which also had a whole separate website explaining the mini manga.
Now, I do have a question. I didn't know the Pen Prog 3 is when
the Pen Prog 3 has Metal Garurumon X and Leomon X, I believe.
What?
And so the reason being is that before the Pendulum X dropped, they were dropping hints about Project Arc and the X Antibody inside of the card game?
Huh.
With different color borders on the cards. Hold on. I need to pull up Twitter on my phone real quick. Because if I open any other tabs in... What's it called?
The computer's gonna blow up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there right now. I have a shameful amount of Chrome tabs open. This is what happens when I'm able to upgrade my own RAM.
Yeah. Yeah, no, see, I followed Karn's advice and got Opera GX, because that one lets you set limiters and shit. I just close all of my tabs except for the actual YouTube stream because I don't want to tempt fate, given that Blitzgreymon has already decided to name itself Fate. I'm trying to find the name of the person. Okay, here we are. I'm going to drop their Twitter in chat, but they helped me immensely on the research portion of both this, and they just do a bunch of Twitter threads on Digimon lore. So you should absolutely follow this person on Twitter. So this is their @ and you should follow them on Twitter because they do awesome Digimon lore, and they helped me with some of the research for this. Ravel Carvalho Monte. I apologize if I'm butchering that. But they do awesome Digimon lore threads, and that's actually how I found out about how they hinted at the X Antibody saga, like foreshadowing, both in the card game and on the Pendulum Prog 3. And so the X Antibody storyline is not particularly connected to what we're talking about, but would definitely be something fun to cover in the future. But, like, that's, like, going to take hours upon hours to go through everything, so we won't add that in. What is important, though, is that all terminal VPETs are set in or linked to one of those two. So, like, the Digimon X's are connected to the old digital world alongside, like, the classic pets, whereas the newer pets are connected to the new digital world, and we actually got confirmation of that when the DM20 was coming out because someone asked that deep lore question, and Bandai was like, new digital world. And so... Can you hear me, Xana?
Yes.
I'm just making sure. Just because, like, something cut out on my end, and I was just like, oh god, did things crash?
No, thank God not. I didn't, but yeah, I had no idea that that was the case, because I was on Pen Pog 3, I'm like, wait, what? I thought it started with the 10X.
Yeah, no, the most interesting part about it for me is that, the way it started in the card game was they changed the blue borders of the cards to red borders, and then the red bordered cards were stronger all the time. It was interesting, because, like, they hadn't announced that it was the X antibody, but they were clearly getting stronger for some reason. There were variants and shit.
But they hadn't, like, changed the art at all? Like, it was still, like, the same.
I don't think they changed the art just yet. Some of them they did, though.
Interesting.
Like as it went on. It's really interesting.
That's, like, super dope that they were, like, they sneak dropped it like that. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So, we know that, like, thanks to the Pendulum Z, we know that, like, because there's this new era of, like, peace in the digital world, that we're now discovering new species because, I don't know, I guess they've been hiding this whole time due to the conflict.
I think it's less that they've been hiding, but the things that are popping up in the Pen Z, I believe what's going on is there was a period of time where they weren't making V-Pets, which implies that to a degree they weren't focusing on the actual Digimon research side of things. When we got the version 20ths and they start making V-Pets again, they're honing in on the new digital world. Because the old digital world, as far as we knew, wasn't active at the time. But new digital world is, so they're focusing on the new digital world, and after the whole Digimon X saga, the research reveals that that basically new species of Digimon were coming into existence. Like, everything new on the Pansies is described as a new Digimon. I doubt they were in hiding and they were there before, rather it's more likely that they evolved in the modern era. Which is a weird thing to say when you consider how fast time goes in the digital world.
Yeah, that's interesting, yeah.
Also, speaking of which, as far as we can tell, the only time Digimon lifespans have been measured in actual human time is the Vital Brace.
So, like, with what we know about the new and old digital world, the fact that, like, one Digimon can cross between the two freely.
Yeah.
And
two... Not necessarily freely, so much as, like, it's possible to transfer between the two, and the Royal Knights had the authority to do it, and then, like, the Demon Lords were strong enough to, like, make use of things.
I think, like, didn't, like, Yggdrasil, like, make some, like, deal at the end where, like, he was like, you know what, fine, we'll just bridge the two together instead of, like, having them separate?
I think so. I never actually played the X3.
If I'm not mistaken, it's something like that. Like, after...
That sounds like how it would end.
After Jessamon GX defeats, like, I think it's a Gudamon X?
Gudamon X?
Yeah, like, after he beats a Gudamon X, Yggdrasil allows, like, it's not bordered anymore, like, it essentially, like, it's, like, free travel between the two.
Yeah.
And then, the one thing about the end of the X storyline that hasn't been resolved just yet is the fact that it is implied that Gankromon is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, when Jessamon GX was formed, like, that is, like, it was, like, a permanent fusion. Like, Jessamon GX is the only thing that exists from the two now. And that's Jessamon's base form, is GX now. And what happens is after he beats a Gudamon X actually reverts into a Digitama, and Jessamon GX takes it to train it. So it is implied that now there are only 12 Royal Knights, and Jessamon GX is now, like...
raising the next 13th, which is awesome on its own, but when you consider the X3's mechanic of the special egg being Diaboromon X's line...
Oh, shit.
Which implies that the classic enemy of Omegamon and Imperial Dramon Paladin mode, the founder of the Royal Knights, is going to be its new 13th member.
I didn't even think about that. You're right. and they gave us like the ability to raise it too.
Oh, but like that's the whole thing. The latest X storyline directly involves the Tamer, because the ruler of the old digital world, according to Jessmon's contest, is the Tamer, because they take an X egg, they beat every single Digimon in the new old digital world, and they claim the top spot.
True. That is true. And then the X2, they get the Demon Lord's like, no, fuck that. They get pissed off, and they try to take over.
Hell no! And so the player's like, and so like the Tamer, just being a complete force of nature, is just like, oh, you guys are breaking out? Well, I'm the ruler here, so I'm just gonna yoink one of these Digitama from the dark area, and I'm gonna make use of your evolution data. And then the X3 happens, and the Royal Alert's like, okay, no, this is not happening. And they're just like, ooh, there's some evolution data over here. Just gonna switch sides again.
Yeah, and then like the thing is too, like the original, like the Tamers from the OG X Chronicle show up in the last, like, in the X3 section of the story.
Makes sense.
So yeah, that does make sense. So technically, there were 3 chambers there. Could like us, the player, I guess, is the third tamer.
Yeah. And now here we are in the Vital Bracelet era, where for some reason we cannot connect to the digital world directly, and the amount of tamers are so numerous that we get to host events and shit where we fight things.
So that makes you wonder, like, since
how
there's no like.
Fucked did the digital world get in the span of the Pensy releasing to the Vital Braces release?
That's the exact question I was about to ask. Like, what did we do? / what happened? Like, was it because was it because we no longer had any type of like bearing on that digital world that it went to shit, or like is it just so fine now that like we're cut off from it? Like they're like no more. Like there's nothing else to do. Like,
or are we at a point where like it was so peaceful that not even just a situation of like. Are we at a point where it's so peaceful that not only could we bridge the 2 digital worlds, but it was now safe to allow Digimon into our network again?
Maybe that's it. Because I was gonna say like all the VPET lore is normally all connected. I don't think there's a single VPET that like isn't connected. Oh, you know what? You actually forgot a VPET in here.
Oh, which one?
XL.
Well, no, the Pen X through the Pen 20, and Pen OG through the Pen Prog.
Okay, yeah, true. You're right. Yes. So the XL, as weird as it is,
Digivices are weird though, because like, what the hell is the IC?
It's obviously a VPET gameplay wise, but it is a Digivice.
Well, no, see, like we're wearing Digivice V's, so that's not what I mean. What I mean is the Digivice IC a terminal pet? Or a lab pet, because its background implies a lab pet. You are raising Digimon on a graph.
You're right. Probably a lab pet if you think about it, because aren't there? I
guess the Excel would be a lab pet too, because when you think about it, those 2 are using human input just like the Vital Bracelet does, just not to the same degree.
You could argue, and I'm just gonna say this is my new headcanon. The XL is the like advent of DATs, and the XL was like the first way they were able to like make a device that was able to kind of like interact with Digimon, and the IC is essentially like the completed version of.
I'd say it's a stage 2, and the burst is the completed version.
Yeah. Like stage 2 of like their own Digimon raising thing. Like they wanted to raise Digimon to be able to use them
as
against
a means of
like
like
threats.
keeping us safe from digital world threats. And
yeah.
With that perfect fucking segue. So, here's the conclusion I drew. The VB is not directly connected to the digital world like previous terminal VPets, and is a lab-type pet. The VB Lab's battle feature encourages cooperating with other tamers and competing in terms of general damage output, rather than direct battles between tamers. The VB Lab also provides tamers with missions, both daily and general tasks. DiM data is used by the VB to turn an existing entity into a form we can visualize and then defeat. Thus, Episode 14 of Digimon Ghost Game's lore dump on what DIMs are directly foreshadows the arrival of some kind of digital threat, which Bandai is currently preparing tamers for. I expect that DATs will be founded in the near future, with the top tamers from the raids occurring prior being recruited as its agents. I already know I'm not good enough to pull that off, but I'm totally starting my own hacker team once things get crazy.
You know, you're right. Like, I just realized that. Yes. So, like, the idea behind, like, the reason why none of this is, like, directly connected to the digital world, is because this is all, like, essentially a test, I guess you could say. Like, we are essential lab rats. And that's the current story going on, is that we're lab rats. There is some kind of threat that is growing.
We are dealing with a threat that not only required us to cut off from the digital world entirely, but requires Bandai to put actual Digimon into devices where they are dependent on humans and train tamers to be battle ready at any time. And to keep their Digimon on them at all times.
And not only that, but these devices are able to interact with multiple terminals throughout, like, our reality, including on our phones.
With new terminals being created as we speak, thank you, Digimon Con.
Yes, true. So, like, we can directly interact with things and, like, take care of possible threats hiding in said terminal. Mm-hmm. To help grow our Digimon to be stronger.
Yeah.
And we are also essentially all growing mini armies.
Mm-hmm.
And the
replication of habitat data implies that the digital world might be so fucked right now that we need to build a new one.
Hmm.
And to top it all off with our new information from Digimon Con, the fact that they're finally giving us direct battles might imply that the one responsible for the digital world's current state is human interference. We might be going all the way back to the beginning with the classics like version Saturn and Digimon World, where the bad guy is a human hacker who's playing God.
Shit. Wait a second. I think we might have just accidentally spoiled Ghost Game.
Oh no!
Hero's dad is probably a bad guy. And is the main... I think we just spoiled
Holy shit,
Ghost
right?
Game. I think we just spoiled
Hero's
Ghost Game. My
dad
bad, guys.
Bad guy who's playing God in the digital world. Oh my god.
Check back with us in another...
He's just irresponsible enough to build a machine Dramon for the fun of it.
We check back in, like, maybe 6 or 7 months when we're at the shit hitting the fan segment of Ghost Game where they jump into the digital world finally and see if Hero's dad is bad or not, because that might be the case, because if you think about it, I'm pretty sure Gamamon's probably a man-made Digimon. He's probably not a naturally occurring Digimon.
Oh, he is absolutely man-made.
And since he's virus, like Guilmon, who is also another virus type that is also technically man-made, why can Gamamon turn into Ghoulish Gamamon? It's like this obviously evil as fuck evolution. Like, why is that the case, you know? And Hero's dad told him, like, this is your brother, which implies that he created him. Which implies that he is playing God in the digital world, because he is making DiM cards based on the different... We just spoiled the fucking show.
Yeah! Listen, the only things Ghoulish Gamamon can be one of two things. Either it's the base state, and Gamamon was a reversion that was artificially that was artificially forced, or Gulus Gammon was the perfection of the 3 RBG evolutions, and its purpose is to serve as its purpose is to serve as equally powerful, the power of all 3 combined, which it is stronger than the other 3. We've seen that very clearly.
Yeah.
Which means that its purpose, and the fact that it's the only sentient, properly sentient dark evolution we've gotten.
Yeah.
Its purpose is to be the strongest possible Gammamon variant and to evolve into Keno Icemon. Absolutely. We've spoiled Ghost Game. Sorry, everyone.
So yeah, sorry. Yeah. I cannot wait. The fact that we have this recorded now.
Oh my god, yeah.
I cannot wait to be able to go back and just go, hey.
We called it!
We called it.
We called it.
We're sorry.
I've got the goggles on, so you know it's true.
I cannot believe. That just makes too much sense.
It makes too much sense.
And again, we talked about it before, they mentioned that the lore implications and the mechanics of the Vital Brace is what influenced Ghost Game's lore and story.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if Ghost Game will end with something kind of like Tamer's ending, where multiple Tamers start joining in.
Mm-hmm.
And
we've got a surprising amount of development on our named side characters, haven't we?
We have there's the Ruli's 2 friends, and then Hero's friend. They're all they've I thought they were just gonna be one-off characters, but they are continually showing up, which makes me think that maybe that is what they're trying to do. Maybe they are doing the Tamers route, where we're going to get this is leading up to there being multiple Tamers. Especially
in that the bond between Digimon and Tamer very much seems to be similar to Tamers, in that the Digimon are choosing their partners rather than having predetermined ones.
Yes.
The only one who's had anything close to a predetermined partner is Hero and Gammamon, and that's just because his dad came back home just to dump him on him.
Man. Can't believe we spoiled Ghost Game.
I can't believe we spoiled Ghost Game.
When conspiracies turn out to just be flat out spoilers.
No, see, what's going to happen is that, that's not going to be the case, but Habu's watching us right now, and he's going to incorporate this into the new story mode for the Bridal Bracelet, which isn't actually a story mode, because we're just right.
We're living it. We are the story mode. We're experiencing it right now. But that would, could you imagine if, when the Versus, the real-time battle app comes out, it has some kind of weird story mode?
Oh my god, yeah, that would be amazing.
Because I like the idea that, I don't know, I know we have the Dreamers manga, but I've only seen some of Lost in Translation Mon's videos. I think it's only on the 3rd or 4th issue at the moment.
Yeah.
It doesn't really I can't. It's too early to say whether or not it's going to be something it's going to be something like V-Tamer, where it's going to flesh out the kind of lore behind everything. I don't know if it's going to do that. I hope it does.
They mentioned when Dreamers was in production alongside Ghost Game, they mentioned that they were kind of doing a shift, and that the manga was going to be the more lower age focused one, whereas the anime was going to shift and be more like the previous manga. Which implies that since the manga prior have been the ones that fleshed things out more, that's what Ghost Game was meant to do and is doing, literally. Whereas whereas Dreamers, while it's much better written, is a bit more like Adventure 2020 in that regard.
Gotcha.
Though again, we're only on like chapter 3 or 4, so
Yeah, we're just so early in it. Who knows how long it'll last? So I can't really say too much because who knows? We might get like, even if it is for like younger readers, it could have more like implications of the greater VPET lore as far as like the Vital Brace and the Digivice V.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too different from the earliest chapters of Vtamer at this point, except it has a 0-2 kind of premise to it. So so we haven't really had him being trapped.
Yeah, so I definitely, I am excited to see if like, other than Ghost Game, like where this is all gonna go, because we've been saying some really crazy shit, and it'd be really cool for the Digimon to actually do that, because like,
oh hell yeah,
the implications of like them like kind of like giving us more agency, I guess is the best word to say.
Yeah.
Over like what happens, because I mean like, if you think about it, all of the raid battles so far have been like pretty major big bads throughout like the different seasons. Like Black War Greymon.
We've gotten Black War Greymon, Diaboromon, Apocalypse, Millenniummon.
Yeah.
And then the other things
all of
we've
those
gotten have all been perfect levels that correspond to some kind of event.
Yeah, like barring the event, like the event ones definitely seem like that's just like...
The event ones are very clearly artificially induced because they're perfect levels that are being artificially strengthened, combined with basically having equipment to make themselves stronger.
Yeah. So like, barring those, all of the raid battles that are like the serious ones, I guess you could say, have all been like the respective big bads for like the different seasons of Digimon.
Especially
like
with the D-Reaper coming up.
Exactly, and that's what I was going to mention, is that like now we have the D-Reaper, so like we're pretty much plowing through all the major big bads from all the different seasons, because like Black War Greymon is like the big bad for a very big portion of 02 for like a while.
Yeah.
Then we have, obviously, I don't think I need to explain Diaboromon.
No, like the order we went in was Diaboromon, Black War Greymon, Apocalypse, and then we get to Millenniummon. And then like we've gotten revive raids where they keep doing those ones again.
And that's the thing too, like we
are being explicitly trained to fight against what have historically been the most powerful antagonists in Digimon canon.
Yeah, so like it makes you think like, are these raid battles just like training, or are we actually like combined taking care of like massive digital threats? You know, like, because like the revive raid battles, like either A, those have been like actual, like the actual Digimon, or B, they are literally being revived and we have to fight them again. Like it's an interesting implication there where like we are...
Listen, we have either spoiled Ghost Game or we've spoiled life. There is no in between.
We've spoiled both. The Ghost Game is actually all been a what do you say? It's been a social experiment. Ghost Game and the Vital Brace.
Ghost Game is propaganda to prepare us for the incoming digital war.
Yeah, there's going to be an actual digital rift that opens up, and anyone who is unlucky enough to not...
Hologram ghosts are a metaphor for the NFC enemies.
Oh my god. Especially, like, you know, all the hologram ghosts, I mean, they can all directly interact with, like, things like smartphones and cameras and everything else. So it's just, like... And, like, this is something that I think I mentioned in a video. But the thing about Ghost Game right now is, like, obviously, Ghost Game's heavily based off of the Vital Brace. And all of the Vital Brace's promotional art, whenever a Digimon is in our world at least, they're never there physically. They're only like see-through holograms. Like in all of the Vital Brace like promotional material, all of like the Project Digimon 2021 videos, they've always been like holograms. And then Ghost Game comes out, and that's the big thing, is that Digimon appear in our world as hologram ghosts. And there are holograms that can directly interact with humans, and the only way for them to materialize is for them to be partnered with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And so now a lot of the evil Digimon that we're seeing have essentially figured that out, where they need some kind of human interaction, whether it be like humans being scared at them, or
humans befriending them.
They can finally become tangible. Mm-hmm. And so that's becoming like, that's like the overarching kind of like thing that's been building so far in the show.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes you wonder.
It really makes you wonder. And I mean, like, listen. If you've been watching this, or if you're watching the VOD down the line, you're going to be ready when you're walking down the street, and all of a sudden, despite not connecting to anything, your VB goes off with a random battle.
Oh my god, that'd be horrifying. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Like, you're not in adventure mode, you're just in the base.
You're not in adventure mode, you're in just regular VB mode. You decided to check on your Mon just to make sure that it's reading properly. So the screen's on,
and all you see is
you're
just
walking
warning.
down the screen, all of a sudden, bright red, and you hear the ding going off like...
Like, uh-oh.
And you're gonna know, oh shit, they were right.
Or like, you know, like one day, you know, the Vital Brace app is just gonna go, okay, go look outside. That's your next raid battle.
Like we're gonna see the raid battle going off, and it's done in the same exact CGI as the promo videos, and they're just like, oh, that was real feed. Oh god.
Oh, they were warning us. It's a warning. This whole time, it's been a warning.
I cannot wait for the VB Lab update where we get to actually interface with the holographic. We get to use the Holo UI.
Oh my god!
I can't wait. And like, we actually have our Digimon like hanging out behind us. I won't need a driver's license if I can just have Shivamon ferry me places.
You know, it would be cool if they did add some kind of like AR mode or something like that in the Battle Race stuff. That would be really cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
The only thing, like, now we know. So, like, you know, most likely Digital World's fucked.
Mm-hmm.
We're either trying to fix it or trying to defend ourselves from whatever fucked it over.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the only thing so far, the only loose thread about the Vital Brace, the DIMs, is poor Betamon.
Mm-hmm.
Where is he?
Yeah.
Where'd he go?
Even,
I know earlier
even Rise Greymon's finally on a DIM at this point. Come on, give Betamon a DIM already.
Damn, you're right. He did just randomly show up and he wasn't in a DIM yet.
Well, no, they put him on the Matte Black Roar. Didn't they?
No, yeah, but I didn't realize that when he did show up in that promo, like, he wasn't in a DIM
he
yet.
wasn't on a DIM.
That's really weird.
People were more mad about Rise Greymon showing up despite not being on a DIM than they were Betamon continuously showing up without a DIM.
You know, and like, that's the thing. So like, so far at least, every Digimon that showed up in those trailers have become like, has shown up in some place. Like, Palmon showed up, and like, she didn't have a DIM until Hermit in the Jungle.
Yeah. Palmon showed up like just before Hermit in the Jungle, actually.
Yeah, like right before. And so then we had Rise Greymon. Now he's on Mad Black Horror. So like, Betamon is even in like concept art. So either he's someone's favorite, like someone on the team obviously likes Betamon. But other than that,
the reason we're not getting a Betamon DIM is because Betamon fan wants to feel special. They have a custom DIM and they don't want to release it.
Oh my god, I can imagine. I can honestly see that. Like, that's just like
we are talking about the Wild Bunch of freaking course. They all have custom partner DIMs.
You know what? They probably do. Like, if we
Like,
know
if
this
you-
shit...
Yeah, if we know how to do it, there are people who know how to do it, and are just being respectful and not releasing them onto the internet for the sake of not screwing everyone over. Of fucking course, the devs have their own unique partner lines.
Of course.
Dude, direct battles are going to end up with us being able to actually have tournaments where we fight, like, winner fights the devs custom line.
Yo, that would honestly be really fucking sick. And, like, you know, like, whoever gets, like, I don't know, whoever can beat him, like, the DiM will be released early or something. I don't know, that'd be cool.
Yeah. And it, they get their own title, like, there are Tamers, there are Digidestined, and then there are the Digidevs.
That would be sick. That's
also,
my one
holy
thing,
shit, that's what we should call the people who make Digimon, since Bandai won't give them a budget. The Digidevs.
The Digidevs, yeah. We should. Yeah, it's such a shame. Like, I'm still upset about that. Like, poor Habu, just trying his
great
best.
and powerless.
Yeah, trying his best with the budget of a ham sandwich. It seems like.
Yeah, that Habu is like his title, Habu the Great and Powerless. He's awesome and wants to do so much for Digimon, but he can't do shit because Bandai won't give him won't give him $1.
They'd rather make another crappy My Hero Academia game.
Yeah. And like, I don't know if I mentioned this to you or just like in general, but I think the reason that we haven't gotten more stuff for the Vital Brace yet is because it was such a success that Bandai forced VBC on them.
They forced what?
I think that the Vital Brace characters was something that Bandai forced on the Vital Brace after it did so well, because instead of seeing that as Digimon's doing well, they saw it as, this concept does well, so we'll put it on more profitable things. And so that's why we're only getting direct battles now.
You know, that's probably the case. And that's the sad part. Because, I mean, that's essentially what the Tamagotchi Smart is. Like,
yeah, the Tamagotchi Smart is literally, hey, Vital Brace is doing well.
Let's, like, improve it and just put Tamagotchi on it and see how well it sells.
And then that works, so they're like, okay, we're taking our other boys' franchises and we're throwing them onto the Vital Braces as well. Which, I mean, yeah. I'm fine with, because I'm totally up for getting Kamen Rider DIMs. I hope Vital Brace, I hope that, like, Vital Brace characters ends up not doing well to the degree that they have to stop selling VBCs, but ends up doing well to the degree that we get more Metabot-style DIMs.
Yeah, I hope we do get, like, I want to be able to use the Digimon I currently have in my VB Lab app in order to evolve 01 into 02. Yeah, I really hope that we do get more.
Oh my god, I only just now realized the pun I just accidentally made by using Digimon in that example.
I do hope we get more, like, crossovers and stuff. Like, I would like to see more, like, wacky stuff, like, in the Vital Brace,
I honestly think it would be way better to have, and way more successful, to have more Metabot-style DIMs than it would be to have separate bracelets for characters.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, maybe that was some weird stipulation they had to do due to licenses, like maybe.
Like, that makes sense for like the Ultraman stuff, but why not just why not combine Kamen Rider and Digimon? Because like at this point, if you're doing things like the freaking look with the Digimon Project promos that were live action, imagine how cool that would look, where you literally have someone with their Vital Bracelet on, going up like working side by side with Revice. Especially with Revice being... Especially with the way Revice works, which I know you don't know and I'm not going to spoil, but, like, Revice was meant to work alongside a Vital Brace user.
You know, I'm surprised they haven't released a Revice dip yet. It's the current season.
I think that the reason why is because they want to finish the current season and actually have all, like, the full roster, even though we totally have enough life stamps to make, like, 3 DIMs already.
Yeah, like, I mean, just make a, like... Okay... This is another... We're on Monspiracy. This is another conspiracy here. Now, we don't know if they're going to get more DIM cards later, but right now, so far, the team has 2 DIM cards each, which makes me think I mean, I'm pretty sure at this point that none of the megas on any of those DIMs are going to be the canon megas in the anime.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you
They all
think that the
have-
second round of DiM cards are actually what are going to be released as our megas?
Yes, I think there's going to be a second round of DIM cards, and like they just gave the crew all new DIM cards. They all have like different areas, so I'm assuming that it's possible that the areas are going to influence like the Digimon's evolution. Like
Yeah.
the next time we see Jellymon or Angoramon evolve will be them using their DIM cards, and something about that is it could possibly affect like their evolution.
That's interesting. I don't think that they're going to actually play I don't think they're actually going to play a part in the evolution until the megas, because we did get their perfect stages.
Yeah.
Though at the same, and like, I don't think, and like, Ruli's kind of associated with the Ice DiM at this point. Like, they kind of have Hero associated with the Desert DiM. Ruli's got the Snow one. I forget what the third one is, but I assume that one is the one that's going to be Kyoshiro's.
Yeah.
And Goramon's perfect level doesn't look like it's very clearly inspired by like Mothman or something, and really doesn't look like it would be in an ice environment.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, though as a counterpoint, it was in the ice environment that we finally got Simbara and Goramon. So.
Yeah, true.
Though on the subject of Ghost Game and evolutions, I think we can all agree that Tesla Jellymon had the best.
What, when she like evolved the first time?
Yeah, Tesla Jellymon's evolution is one of the greatest evolution scenes in Digimon.
It's pretty dope.
Because, like even just conceptually, the fact that we actually got a Digimon, like, using environment data and Tamer in order to create an evolution, and the fact that she's, like, using the fighting game data seamlessly blended into it to the point where Kyoshiro was actually able to use the interface to literally sync up with her.
Oh, yeah! The fact that, like, she's inspired by fighting games, I absolutely love. I think it's such a
The
good
most
idea.
disappointing thing ever was that when I checked her actual Digidex entry, it was talking about, like, actual, like, boxing and shit, and I was like, no, come on, you had the perfect origin!
You literally set yourselves up, like, come on. Like,
you literally set yourselves up. But, I mean, then again, we did have access to Tesla Jellymon before the show showed her off, so that would have technically been a spoiler, probably.
yeah, it probably would have been.
But, I mean, like, I still had canon that it evolved from a fighting game.
Yeah. I'm just gonna... That's the evolution requirement. You have to, like, use it in the video game.
Yeah.
You gotta upload it into Street Fighter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, when you think about it, all Digimon do at least a little bit of fighting games.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Honestly, the fact that they... Like, I know Pokken is a thing now, but it's kind of surprising that Bandai Namco already had Digimon and didn't do that. It's just kind of funny to me.
You mean every single Digimon Rumble game?
Yeah, but, like, a straight-up, like, actual, like, fighter... Like, a 3D fighter that's like Tekken.
Yeah, that's a good point.
With Digimon characters. Like, I think that would be a great game.
It would,
and not only
definitely.
that, there's already precedent to do it because there is already a character from Tekken that has crossed over with Digimon multiple times.
And we have multiple Digimon that literally evolved from fighting game data. Hell, there is an entire side story in Cyber Sleuth where you literally have to go convince a bunch of Gaomon to stop playing the goddamn fighting game because they're breaking the fighting game.
It's weird to me that they, like, and, like, again...
Like, Digimon is the champions of having the best ideas and only using them as throwaway concepts in different media than they'd be useful in.
Yeah. Gotta love it.
Gotta love it. But yeah, So yes, everyone, we have either predicted the end of Ghost Game, what's going to happen next in real life, or both.
Or the end of times.
Yeah. I mean, I would, listen, I for one welcome our new digital overlords, probably because I'll be one of them.
I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
At this point, with everything that's going on, that would be...
Listen. Maybe what we need in order to stop COVID and everything else going on in the world is to just, have a digital crisis.
Okay, well, it's funny you mentioned that because, at least lore-wise, they've already made an explanation for COVID, if you think about it. Because when
that
COVID
one
started...
time they tweeted about Coronamon?
Yes! No! There's the other time. So, when the lockdown started in Japan, they said, everyone, stay indoors. There has been sightings of Loosemon Satan mode. It's not safe to go outside.
We never got a Satan mode raid.
No! So... That's just gonna end COVID. We have to fight Satan mode.
When we fight Satan mode, we'll finally be free from COVID. That's what the frontier DiMs are for. We need Susanomons.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That'd be actually, honestly, that'd be hilarious. Could you imagine?
We finally get we get the frontier DiMs. We load them up, we have just enough time for a bunch of people to raise Susanomon, and then here's Loosemon Satan mode raid. We kick Loosemon Satan mode's butt. And then, all the COVID's gone.
It just went away. The next day, gone. At this point, that's what I'm hoping for.
Hell yeah.
Bring it on.
Yeah. Alright. We have been at this for quite some time, so I think this is a good point to call it.
I think this has been a wonderful inaugural episode of Monspiracy.
Oh, hell yeah. Everyone, I assure you this will be done again, because I have too many scripts to not continue this.
Absolutely. And hopefully there will be more special guests. I will definitely sit in on a X video, because I absolutely adore talking about the X's.
Oh yeah, talking about the X's will be great, because I can just get pictures, and I don't need to actually make a full-on slideshow for it.
Yeah, true.
Because, slideshows and shit, that's for when I have to explain my thought process. With the X, I can just talk about things that exist.
We can just talk forever and ever.
Yeah, I mean, this literally was founded on the fact that we literally can talk about Digimon forever.
Well,
but, yeah, so,
everyone, has been wonderful.
Please tune in next time for episode 2 of Monspiracy, which may or may not be about the several different Digimon that were secretly artificially man-made, which I now need to add Gamamon to that list.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, thank you everyone for coming, and we will see you next time. Peace!
Bye!